So then guys, I did my first Premier League predictions last year and it went really well. It's not just my most popular video on my YouTube channel, but it's also a very controversial one where you get lots of different opinions and that, and it allows you to interact with you guys. So I thought, why not do it again this year? So here are my Premier League predictions for the 2019-20 season. So let's get started. Just before we start this video though guys, just a disclaimer, this is done on the 27th of July, so any transfers after the 27th of July cannot be taken into consideration. So for example, if bottom of the table, if I put Newcastle bottom of the table and you were to spend another 80 million on fantastic world class players and go on to win the league, you can't have a go at me if I signed them on August the 1st, because this is July the 27th and I cannot foresee Mike Ashley even doing that, but I cannot foresee the future. So I'm just putting that disclaimer out there. Anyway, let's get on with the video. First up guys are the teams in the relegation zone, and for me guys, I've gone Brighton in 20th, Norwich in 19th and Newcastle in 18th. For Brighton guys, have just stayed up the last two seasons. Getting rid of Chris Hughton is a big move. For the players they brought in Matt Clark from Portsmouth and Leandro Trossard from Genk, and that is all they've really done. I don't think they've got enough to survive again. I think they'll just about fail and finish bottom of the table. For Norwich, they're one of the newly promoted teams, and they are the only newly promoted team I've got in the relegation zone. They have gone out and signed some players like Patrick Roberts and Sam Byram. However, I just feel that one newly promoted team is going to go straight back down, and for me, I'm looking at Norwich because I just think out of all three that have come up, they've not done the best business out of all three of them. I think the other two have done better, and I do think as well that, well, it's hit or miss really, but I'm just going to go with Norwich. That's just my gut feeling. Newcastle the last two seasons have looked pretty strong, to be honest, and I think some people might be a bit shocked that I've put them in the relegation zone. Other people will not be shocked at all. Losing Rafa Benitez is definitely going to send them down a few places. I don't see anyone doing the same job Rafa Benitez did. Also, not signing Solomon Rondon as well is also a big loss. But for me guys, as well as them losing them two to both a China team, I do also have to say getting Steve Bruce in could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think it's more of a bad thing. Not does he just football, just bore you, but I just don't think he's going to live up to the expectations of what Rafa Benitez had. And he's going to sit very defensively as well. And we've seen Newcastle at times, their defence isn't their strongest part. I will say guys that Newcastle could shock me, but I just feel that they're just going to, I know they've signed Joelinton, but I just think they've not done enough, and that is Mike Ashley's fault, definitely. And I just feel that this is a season where it's going to come back to haunt them. In 17th, just surviving the relegation zone, I've got newly promoted Sheffield United. I think Sheffield United will have the same advantage that Huddersfield had in their first season. They're the underdogs really, they've got no pressure on them whatsoever, and not many teams will know how they play. And when we was in the Championship season, having that fantastic season, Sheffield United was one team that beat us. Chris Wilder has done a fantastic job there, and even though they went up from League One into the Championship and for the first season competed really well, you thought they're just using that momentum, but it proved it wasn't momentum whatsoever. It's the quality of the team and the manager. Looking at the signs as well, Phil Jagielka coming into the back line for him is some good experience, and then you've got players like Callum Robinson and Lys Mousset from Bournemouth, just adding that bit more of like potential with young players. Sheffield United could easily just fall into the relegation zone, but I think they're going to do what Huddersfield did in their first season and shock us and stay up. In 16th and 15th, I've put two teams that have definitely settled into Premier League life very comfortably. In 16th, I've put Burnley. Sean Dyche, holding on to Sean Dyche, and that yet again is going to be key to Burnley's success this season into stopping in the Premier League. They have only signed Eric Peters from Stoke and somebody else, I can't remember that other person, but only signing two players just shows that, you know, sticking with philosophy of just signing players that fit into what Sean Dyche wants. I don't think they're going to get back to the ways that they were when they qualified for Europe, but I do think they will survive. For Crystal Palace, they have done one key thing, and that is keeping hold of Wilfried Zaha. They've had 50 million come in from Aaron Wan Bissaka, or yeah, basically, you know what I mean. He went to Man United for 50 million, so they've got some money to spend. However, they've only spent 2.5 million on Jordan Ayew and signed someone else as well. So it's not really too busy for Crystal Palace in that sense, but keeping Wilfried Zaha will definitely help keep them in the Premier League this season. I just don't see them pushing up into the top 10 after losing Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because he was a fantastic player last season and it is a key loss as well. If they do lose Wilfried Zaha, however, I do see them possibly dropping towards the relegation zone, unless if they spend that money wisely, which is just what Palace fans will want. Moving towards mid-table now, and first up is 14th place Southampton. I've put them in 14th because I think Southampton have signed Danny Ings and Che Adams, two players. Well, Danny Ings has proved what he can do in the Premier League. He's not a bad striker at all, especially for Southampton. Che Adams, he's young potential from Birmingham City, but I think under Southampton he can definitely thrive, and they've still kept some good players as well, like James Ward-Prowse, etc, etc. So I do think Southampton will survive comfortably and get back into mid-table in 14th. For 13th, guys, I have gone with Aston Villa. Now, Aston Villa are doing what Fulham did last year, spent over 100 million, but for Fulham, I think they were just doing it because they just thought if we spend loads of money, we'll stay up. For Villa, they spent money on players like Courtney House and Tyrone Mings, who was on loan last season, and El Ghazi, etc, etc. But they've also gone out and spent money on like Wesley to replace Tammy Abraham, and I do think as well buying players like the defender from Brentford, Eric Konza, and also Jota and players like that. Maybe they won't be the big successful. Well, I don't think Jota will be a big successful player in the Premier League for them, but it's players that Dean Smith knows and has had the best out of. So you can't buy the bond between players and manager. That is just something that either comes naturally or it doesn't. So for Villa, I think for that reason they will definitely get back into where they want to be, 13th. For the last two of the bottom half of the table, I've gone 12th is Bournemouth and 11th Watford. The reason I put these two teams there is simple. Watford already have a great team and haven't really done too much in the transfer window apart from signing the likes of Craig Dawson from West Brom. So I've put them in 11th because with Gerard Deulofeu and how good they were last season, attackively and defensively for majority of the season, I do think they'll near enough replicate that but not push up as high, so I'm going to go with 11th. I know I've done 11th and 12th, but oh well. In 12th, I'm going with Bournemouth because, you know, they are a good team and Eddie Howe's built into what he wants in his team. However, yet again, they've not done too much to convince me that they're going to push higher up with the signing of Lloyd Kelly. That's basically it, really. If they were to spend a bit more and get one or two more players in, then I would definitely say that they could push a bit higher up. But for me, guys, Bournemouth are going to be 12th. So now, guys, for the top half of the table where it gets even trickier to predict the Premier League. And for 10th, I've gone Everton. The reason I've gone Everton, guys, is they've signed Andre Gomez for 22 million, which is a good buy for them. He did well last season under Marco Silva, and Everton are keep building very well under Marco Silva, I might add. Also, they've signed Fabian Telf for 10 million as well, which is a decent buy for Everton. For me, though, guys, I just feel that as good as Everton are, they do have some inconsistencies, and we've seen that now for 2 seasons under Marco Silva. They have signed another backup goalkeeper in Lerso from Huddersfield, so I think that they'll have a good, strong season, show their stability, and next season could be the season to push on to try and break for top 6. In 9th place, I'm going for West Ham. Now, West Ham could definitely be a shock and actually finish a lot higher up than this, but for me, guys, I've just put them in 9th for now because I spent 45 million on Sebastian Haller, who is now their most expensive and record signing, and they've also spent 24 million on a Pablo Fornals as well, so that's not too bad from West Ham. Definitely spending money, but I just feel like last season the players will have to gel, and we saw last season some great performances from West Ham but also some inconsistent ones. I think they'll continue to build strong under Manuel Pellegrini and have another top 10 finish, but I just don't see them breaking into the top 8 just yet for this season. But a lot more could happen in the transfer window. That could definitely change and make me look like an absolute idiot for putting them in 9th. And now, guys, my team, Wolves. I put us in 8th. Last season we finished 7th and got to the semi-finals of the FA Cup for our first return in the Premier League, and it was a fantastic season. I don't think we're going to do a Burnley and end up finishing like 16th and struggling to cope with Europe and all the games, because I think we've already shown that our levels of fitness and that are up. However, without signing any players just yet, even though there are a few to come in, I just feel that we could drop off or we could break into the top 6. That's how I feel it could literally go this season. I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to say 8th. I think Wolves, we can definitely keep what we had last season. If we could beat some of the lower teams, we could definitely end up pushing for the top 6. But I'm just going to put us 8th because I think we will get a bit tired and have a few tricky spells throughout the season due to extra games. Moving on to the top 7 now, the European competition places, and for 7th, I've gone with Leicester City. Brendan Rodgers is a fantastic appointment from Leicester, and he's definitely going to get the best out of the players. Signing Tielemans and Ayoze Perez are definitely 2 brilliant signings. Perez, I've never seen him as a great player, but I think for what Brendan Rodgers had at Liverpool, he likes a little player like Perez who can just be a bit of ticky-tacky or, you know, just like ghost around and just get into positions like that, and Perez will definitely do that job for him. And I think at Leicester with Jamie Vardy, Andre Gray, Damari Gray, Harvey Barnes, the players like that, etc. He's got great attacking ability, and I think Brendan Rodgers is going to get the most out of Leicester, and that is why I've put them in 7th. In 6th, I have put Chelsea, and one main reason for that is because I think Frank Lampard is going to do a great job there, and I think he's going to get them qualified for the Europa League next season and keep them as a top 6 team. However, with losing Eden Hazard and not being able to sign anyone, I think they are going to struggle a bit more this season. Lampard, he did well at Derby, and Chelsea could easily push for the top 4 because I think Lampard could get the best out of them. However, you do have to remember not being able to sign anyone against the likes of Man City, Liverpool and Tottenham, who are trying to improve every season. It's going to be very tough for Chelsea indeed, but it could be good to see some of the Chelsea youngsters get a chance as well. And in 5th place, guys, I've put Arsenal. Now, Arsenal have been out and signed some good players like Martinelli and William Saliba as well, has gone back to Saint Etienne on loan. So Arsenal have done well in the transfer window as well, but I just don't see them, I just can't see them breaking into the top 4 just yet. I think it's going to be very close, and I think it could be between Arsenal and Man United, but I'm just going with Arsenal in 5th. For the top 4 now, guys, and I've put Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United. Now, they finished the season last season very poorly indeed. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has gone out, he's got rid of a lot of players, and he's brought in 2 players in particular, Daniel James and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Both young, talented players with lots of potential, and I can see what he's going for. He's going for a young team that has the hunger and desire to win games. I think they're going to struggle this season in not winning the Premier League title. I think Man City, Liverpool are still going to just stay ahead of them at the moment, but I think it's a step in the right direction, and I think he can get them to finish 4th. In 3rd place, guys, I'm going with Tottenham yet again. Tottenham have spent money this season on like Ndombele, or whatever you want to pronounce his name, for like 62.8 million, breaking their transfer record, which is good. Their first signing as well for 2 seasons. Well, moving on to the 3rd season now, so miracles can happen if you hang in there. Unfortunately, Mike Ashley spending a lot of money isn't, although technically he spent 40 million, so I guess miracles do happen all round. But for Tottenham now, guys, I do think they're going to get a lot closer to Liverpool and Man City than last season, especially with signing a few players like Jack Clark and that as well, who's one for the future and back at Leeds United. But I just don't think they're going to have enough this season to compete. Well, they're going to compete with Liverpool and Man City, but I just don't see them coming out on top. So then, guys, now on to the top 2, and as you can see, I've put Liverpool in 2nd and Man City in 1st. Liverpool lost by 1 point last season, 97 points, and they still lost. Man City won by 1 point of 98. Fantastic season, and I think we'll have the same again. Liverpool have already signed Settenberg from FC Zwolle, or, you know, for about 1.2 or 1.8 million. It's only a small fee like that, and that's all they've signed really, because let's be honest, they don't need too many signings in. They've got a fantastic team already, a fantastic first team and a fantastic bench, so they're not really desperate to sign more players, and as long as they keep the players that they've got, they're definitely going to do the same again. For Man City though, guys, the reason I put Liverpool 2nd, Man City 1st is A, Pep Guardiola is a fantastic manager and he'll always keep looking for his team to improve, and B, Man City have gone out and signed Rodri, who looks like an absolute fantastic talent. It's about 60-odd million, and he yet again has been another record transfer signing. So a lot of them have happened already this transfer, but not too many transfers have been done. Fantastic signing for Man City, and I think it will. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this season it was by goal difference. I think it's going to be close, but I'm just going with Man City. I just think Pep Guardiola will keep the standards just too high yet again. Well, not too high, but we'll just get the best out of his players yet again and just get over the finish line again. Anyway, guys, that is my Premier League prediction table for 2019/20. If you think your team or any team is deservedly where I put them or not deservedly where I put them, let me know in the comments sections. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, and if you like the video, hit the like button as well, and I'll speak to you guys later.